saying, my brother, is I think it can I've been noticing this shift in my perspective and like a deepening of my understanding of situations, people, time, and place where multiple things can be happening, and those are multiple truths, which pretty much make up the entire truth. Now, that point I just mentioned right there is only coming from the wine because I've never said it like that before. I want y'all to receive.
But I want to lean into that. Like,
see what I'm saying?
But what gave you the I'm gonna say rubric, or what gave you the standard to be able to recognize all of that? Like, what triggered in you to be like, hey, like
you
this
have
is
to
going
be
on.
willing to sit back in your own shit. And there's two things that have to happen, at least three, but at least the two things that have to happen is, okay, I think this is a big thing that happens for a lot of people, because I have been a person who has often and time again and still will probably be misunderstood by a lot of people. When you get used to that being your normal, then you start to communicate from that place. You start to speak from nobody understands me.
Wow.
And so now you're trying to maybe oversell a point where it's like, let me just, and then you also have to stop, you have to take another step back to see like, why is this even a thing for me to begin with? Why do I even give a fuck about them understanding my perspective? Are they even at a level at which they can even comprehend anything I'm saying anyways? Do they even possess the ability to grasp the concepts I'm putting out?
Or
and so we waste
time.
time trying to convince and communicate to people that we shouldn't even be communicating with to begin with. Like, there's that piece, right?
Can somebody go ahead and get the deacon in the back, please, and give her an amen?
Just give me an honorary PhD
Come
somewhere.
on, deacon in the back,
Okay?
all right?
Shoot.
Listen.
You see what I'm saying? So there's that piece. There's looking at it, and it's like, what hurt did we have as a child growing up where we felt blah, 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 blah.
Oh, that's deep now. Now
right?
You going somewhere now. You talking about childhood trauma?
For me, it wasn't in my home. I didn't feel misunderstood in my home. My parents just treated me like I was me. A lot of people see asking why and this and that, and then you go and do that shit in the regular world
because that's all you know, right? That's your norm.
Your unconditional love usually happens at home,
right?
Usually, not all the time. There are two, but most of the time, and if it doesn't, it's generally out of someone's because they love you unconditionally. They're trying to.
But do we even know how to do that?
Wait, we naturally do. Fear and life teaches us otherwise. But naturally we do. I think when you have a child and they come in the world, you love them unconditionally. There is no conditions under which you love that child.
Correct.
People, things you say, others say, things you think, fears that start coming in, that starts to maybe alter that. But some of that is our desire to want to what? Initially protect.
There we go.
So our parents are trying to protect us when they see that we're not quote unquote normal. And they may say or do things that to try and do that. But hopefully if they really love us and we grow, and everybody, this is not that conversation, because me and you probably could go through so much on that from either ourselves or our peers. That wasn't that's not my testimony. But there are still some things that happen, even still, right? So I'm definitely beyond blessed, but there's not things that are necessarily quote unquote perfect, because there's no perfect situation. And I think what matters at the end of the day is you were loved and people did their best to love you. And I think if we step back and acknowledge, right, you can only love from as much as you love yourself. You can, sorry, again, still go back to episode 1. So if you hear at episode 41, I want to stop you right now. And you need to go to episode 1, Love Yourself More Than Anybody Else Loves You. It's probably the only title of any podcast I could spew off, but it's my very first one. Check that one out. It is gold. And it's something that is a continual lesson, a continual journey. All right, so there's that, right?
Right.
Then there's, okay, I want to be understood by other people. You meet someone who does understand you. Guess what? They're probably weird like you. They probably have been in situations where
in this Scorpio event, we can get a little crazy. So
they are probably also, if they're on your similar wavelength, they're probably a being that doesn't always know if they communicated their idea just as clearly, and they have insecurities around that. So they're they're responding to you or communicating to you from a similar place, maybe for different reasons or whatever. And if we truly, though, at the end of the day, want to be understood, we're to seek to understand someone else. So that means that you sometimes have to chill. You have to stop Alex makes a statement, the sky's blue. Well, no, but so even just communicating in a more of an affirmative or neutral response versus that an initial negative, you don't even mean it. But once you say that no word, or once you put that negative out there, it already is going to alter the response from the other person. And then I feel like that further distances you. So for me, going through those experiences and watching how I respond, and because it's someone I love and care about, right? This is the place you really want to fine tune and practice these things because it matters more. But when we tend to know someone loves us unconditionally, they have been loving your weird, trifling ass, and yes, you've grown, but baby, they was loving you when you was still just fucking raggedy.
But let's remind the people about that, right?
Okay.
Let's
and
remind
so
the
you're
people
growing.
about when you were low. I loved you when you were low, you know?
And so they might even be a little tired of you at this point, even when you were growing. They're tired still while you're growing.
But just remember, like Layla Hathaway said in her song, that you're going to have to come back from where you've been. You know, you might have to come back around again where you were low. Remember that. Yeah. That's a big thing.
So you got to remember yourself. You got to remember where they were. Also, another point is, you may have already been where they are now. And in some ways, they may have been where you are. But it takes a big person. And I say big person because that's the only way I can kind of articulate it right now. Mm-hmm. But it's like a big mind, a big willingness, a big heart to even want to basically submit. In communication, do we submit enough? I never even thought of that. But
say that this is my home. Right?
So you control where you're at. You want to be. Once you like level up and you learn something new, you don't want to keep going back to the old you per se. It's not that you is not there, but you might have refined and polished some things, and you're saving that knife for another type of fight. This is not a fight.
And you're letting that be a part of your foundation, right? So because you're building it back up. Because again, people, there's no place better than home, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to build. And sometimes we're
trying to renovate a house.
Come on.
We trying to refurbish a house.
We're trying to fix somebody else's problem, though. You know what I'm saying? While you're renovating it, you know, make sure it's yours. You know.
But I was just speaking to you and someone, a friendship, right? Y'all have a house. Every ship you're in is a ship, right? So. There are things that you need to tweak. You can't just keep riding the same house, the same car, the same ship without doing no maintenance.
Situationship.
Without doing no proper maintenance, no checks, no PCIs, PCCs. You got to do all that stuff. You got to go get your oil change. You got to check the fluids. You got to check the lights.
But you know there's some people out there still don't know how to change a tire, right?
Hey, here's my thing. At least know how to do it. I've never done it, but I know how to. Well, I probably have started off one, yeah. But if you're not going to know how to do it, have your insurance in place to make sure that you have a contingency.
You know, the folks in here in Atlanta love riding dirty. I mean, I gotta tell you. That's how I ended up getting my new car. So I was riding dirty. The car didn't even belong to them, Dana.
Man, that's what I mean. I hate, so I don't like to listen to the radio, but with my new job, it's just kind of sometimes easier for me to listen to the radio. The downfall is, of course, all the commercials. The upside is hearing some of these interesting little commercials. Oh, I meant to say the downside is hearing the same songs every day. Like, you know, you're going to hear the Baby Meg. And I love them, but it gets a lot, like, when it's the same songs. That I've heard months ago because I have XM. Or I have it on my Apple Music, and then I gotta hear it like, I'm like, oh my God. But you hear these things like, you know, they have the commercials for these attorneys to get you all this money and hit and run or whatever.
I kind of like low key was like, damn, do I need to make a jingle or two? Like homegirl be going off though. It's like what? What's it's like one girl like
after you get hit, call two.
Yes, that one. I actually be vibing to it.
After you get hit, call like
what? The hook.
And you know, Jay Sanders is the other one that they call. Julian something Sanders. Just call him like, he got me. This and that and third. Like,
but just the mere fact that you even remember that shows how easily it is for us to get conditioned into a specific situation, right? So you can get conditioned into saying that this is the house that I want to build, this is the home I want to be in, this is the situationship that I want to be in because this is what I've been taught that I deserve. Mm-hmm. You know, and so we have to, you know, take time. And I hope that everybody that's listening, you know, took time in 2020 to reassess their relationships. Good friendships, you know, those relationships, situationships, partnerships, workmanships, all of those things, reassess and see what it is that you need to do to make 2021, a continuation of being better. I think like one of the things I was mentioning to, Daniel earlier that you guys missed about, ending a relationship that was going good. Nothing, had no complaints, just a few red flags, a little earlier on, but they were dealt with, right? It's that I'm so glad that I have a partner that I can, talk to, and we don't argue and just call it quits, but we can get through it. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom. I see that you're succeeding over here and your irons are coming out of the fire, but I think we should just be friends. It's a lot to deal with, right?
It's a lot.
So I'm sitting in my house like, what? I thought we was going to lunch.
So you drove all the way over here to tell me that. Wow.
And that was their first time there. That's the thing. That was their first time there. So
let's go ahead and put it out. We both first time home buyers.
Yeah.
2020 wasn't a horrible year, for everybody. But you gotta be so mindful of who you put into your space and allow into your place. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you got a hut. Goddamn, some people don't even know where your hut is at. And keep it that way. They weren't peaceful before you had the hut. They not trying to put in. They never were trying to put in. And they, even, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way because I love you. But if I have sent you my address, you don't have to wait till there's a housewarming. Because obviously I care about you that much that I would say you can pull up anytime. Just the same way I was before. I was want my house to be a safe haven to whomever,
Right.
So, if you authentic, if you genuinely want to pull up or come by, you just will do that or find out what's the best time.
I actually had some friends of mine was like, oh, you never, extended or invited or anything. I'm like, dude, I actually stayed with you, until while I was doing the transition. Of course you're welcome.
But it's also it's COVID. There's a pandemic.
Right.
I'm not planning an event right now.
Right.
So let's put things into perspective, which goes back to me understanding that when someone is communicating something, sometimes this shit is not about you. Well, this beef still finna be beefing.
Look, Daniel been up in here playing mini chef,
playing future housewife.
Okay, real domestic. I swear she done cooked 3 Sunday meals up in here already. And I'm just sitting here watching because we got on lamb and everything like that. But
listen, you can't tell them all my business.
Well, just the good eating and the good wine and the good drinking.
Yeah, hello. That thickened it up real quick.
Be mindful of us Southerners. We know how to.
We know how to trap now.
Where is the gateway to your heart? Through food.
Food, baby.
Yeah.
Through food, baby.
There's no better place. But I just appreciate the confirmation that when things like that happen, blatant situations that's just right in front of you. It's confirmation that situation or those individuals just need to be removed so you can get to the better part of you or get to your next step in the process. And so hear her say that, hear you say that, Daniel, that was the 3rd time I heard those exact words.
What did I say?
Word for word. Oh, no, that wasn't you. That was just God removing that situation for you.
Oh, yeah. Because I've been through that. So I can recognize that there are things that happen to us. Oh, you can say, oh my God, the enemy, this person was hating. No, sometimes it might look like it was evil, or it might have been it might have even been malintentions, bad intentions.
Could be.
But if the Almighty allowed it to be, then it was for a reason.
Oh yeah.
And I know for us, it's so hard to think I know for me, let me say for sure.
Closure, rationale behind it, all that kind of good
just
jazz.
Thinking of trying to live with intention every day for every little thing, because it's I could just do this, boom, 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 boom. We can't see the trajectory of but it's generally what? Hindsight. Right. Hindsight is 2020. I'll make sure you get a shirt before you leave too. So that was the shirts that I did. Matter of fact, they're behind me. They're behind you rather. Okay. And in that box, yeah. So that was the, hindsight is 2020. I looked up the year, and then I took all the things that last year was supposed to be, and I created basically a vision chart. So that's how the design went.
Do you know we were supposed to do a vision board? I had bought 2 vision boards. We were supposed to.
Well, I'm talking about vision, your eyesight.
Oh, vision. Yeah, that too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because last year was tumultuous. Last year was fucking crazy. But if you took the time to learn from some of the things that you could see right in front of your nose, nigga,